Pentecost, Shavuot, the Feast of Weeks. Exodus chapter 19. In the 3rd month after the children of Israel were gone out of the land of Egypt, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai, for they departed from Rephidim, and came to the desert of Sinai, and camped in the wilderness. Even there Israel camped before the mount. But Moses went up unto God, for the Lord had called out of the mount unto him, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, You have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, how I carried you upon eagle's wings, and have brought you unto me. Now therefore, if ye will hear my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be my chief treasure above all people, though all the earth be mine. Shall be unto me also a kingdom of priests, and a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. Moses then came and called for the elders of the people, and proposed unto them all these things which the Lord had commanded him. And the people answered all together, and said, All that the Lord hath commanded we will do. And Moses reported the words of the people unto the Lord. And the Lord said unto Moses, Lo, I come unto thee in a thick cloud, that the people may hear while I talk with thee, and that they may also believe thee forever. For Moses had told the words of the people unto the Lord. Moreover the Lord said unto Moses, Go to the people, and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes, and let them be ready on the 3rd day. For the 3rd day the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai. And thou shalt set marks unto the people round about, saying, Take heed to yourselves that ye go not up to the mount, nor touch the border of it. Whosoever toucheth the mount shall surely die. No hand shall touch it, but he shall be stoned to death, or stricken through with darts, whether it be beast or man. He shall not live. When the horn bloweth long, they shall come up into the mountain. And Moses went down from the mount unto the people, and sanctified the people, and they washed their clothes. And he said unto the people, Be ready on the 3rd day, and come not at your wives. And the 3rd day when it was morning, there was thunders and lightnings, and a thick cloud upon the mount, and the sound of the trumpet exceeding loud, so that all the people that was in the camp was afraid. Then Moses brought the people out of the tents to meet with God, and they stood in the nether part of the mount. And Mount Sinai was all on smoke, because the Lord came down upon it in fire, and the smoke thereof ascended as the smoke of a furnace, and all the mount trembled exceedingly. And when the sound of the trumpet blew long, and waxed louder and louder, Moses spake, and God answered him by voice. For the Lord came down upon Mount Sinai, on the top of the mount. And when the Lord called Moses up into the mount, Moses went up. Then the Lord said unto Moses, Go down, charge the people, that they break not their bounds, to go up to the Lord to gaze, lest many of them perish. And let the priests also, which come to the Lord, be sanctified, lest the Lord destroy them. And Moses said unto the Lord, The people cannot come up into the Mount Sinai, for thou hast charged us, saying, Set marks on the mountain, and sanctify it. And the Lord said unto him, Go, get thee down, and come up thou, and Aaron with thee. But let not the priests and the people break their bounds to come up unto the Lord, lest he destroy them. So Moses went down unto the people, and told them. Exodus chapter 20. Then God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have none other gods before me. Thou shalt make thee no graven image, neither any similitude of things that are in heaven above, neither that are in the earth beneath, nor they that are in the waters under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down to them, neither serve them. For I am the Lord thy God, a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, upon the third generation, and upon the fourth of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands, to them that love me, and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor, and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath unto the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maid, nor thy beast, nor the stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, and the sea and all that is in them, and rested the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the seventh day, and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be prolonged upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, neither shalt thou covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maid, nor his ox, nor his ass, neither anything that is thy neighbor's. And all the people saw the thunders, and the lightnings, and the sound of the trumpet, and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they fled, and stood afar off, and said unto Moses, Talk thou with us, and we will hear, but let not God talk with us, lest we die. Then Moses said unto the people, Fear not, for God is come to prove you, and that his fear may be before you, that ye sin not. So the people stood afar off, but Moses drew near unto the darkness where God was. And the Lord said unto Moses, Thus thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, Ye have seen that I have talked with you from heaven. Ye shall not make therefore me gods of silver, nor gods of gold. Ye shall make you none. An altar of earth thou shalt make unto me, and thereon shalt thou offer burnt offerings, and thy peace offerings, thy sheep and thine oxen, in all places where I shall put the remembrance of my name. I will come unto thee, and bless thee. But if thou wilt make me an altar of stone, thou shalt not build it of hewn stones. For if thou lift up thy tool upon them, thou hast polluted them. Neither shalt thou go up by steps unto mine altar, that thy filthiness be not discovered thereon. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 15. You shall count also to you from the morrow after the Sabbath, even from the day that ye shall bring the sheaf of the shake offering, even 7 Sabbaths. They shall be complete. Unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath ye shall number 50 days. Then ye shall bring a new meat offering unto the Lord. Ye shall bring out of your habitations bread for the shake offering. They shall be 2 loaves of 2/10 deals of fine flour, which shall be baked with leaven, for first fruits unto the Lord. Also ye shall offer with the bread of 7 lambs, without blemish of 1 year old, and a young bullock and 2 rams. They shall be for a burnt offering unto the Lord, with their meat offerings and their drink offerings, for a sacrifice made by fire, of a sweet savour unto the Lord. Then ye shall prepare a he-goat for a sin offering, and 2 lambs of 1 year old for peace offerings. And the priest shall shake them to and fro with the bread of the first fruits before the Lord, and with the 2 lambs. They shall be holy to the Lord for the priest. So ye shall proclaim the same day, that it may be an holy convocation unto you. Ye shall do no servile work therein. It shall be an ordinance forever in all your dwellings throughout your generations. Numbers chapter 28, verse 26. Also in the day of your first fruits, when ye bring a new meat offering unto the Lord, according to your weeks, ye shall have an holy convocation, and ye shall do no servile work in it. But ye shall offer a burnt offering for a sweet savour unto the Lord, 2 young bullocks, a ram, and 7 lambs of a year old, and their meat offering of fine flour mingled with oil, 3/10 deals unto a bullock, 2/10 deals to a ram, and 1/10 deal unto every lamb throughout the 7 lambs, and an he-goat to make an atonement for you. You shall do this besides the continual burnt offering and his meat offering. See that they be without blemish with their drink offerings. Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 22. Thou shalt give the tithe of all the increase of thy seed that cometh forth of the field year by year. And thou shalt eat before the Lord thy God in the place which he shall choose to cause his name to dwell there, the tithe of thy corn and of thy wine and of thine oil, and the firstborn of thy kind and of thy sheep, that thou mayest learn to fear the Lord thy God always. And if the way be too long for thee, so that thou art not able to carry it, because the place is far from thee, where the Lord thy God shall choose to set his name, when the Lord thy God shall bless thee, then thou shalt make it in money, and take the money in thine hand, and go unto the place which the Lord thy God shall choose. And thou shalt bestow the money for whatsoever thine heart desireth, whether it be ox or sheep, or wine, or strong drink, or whatsoever thine heart desireth, and shalt eat it there before the Lord thy God, and rejoice both thou and thine household. And the Levite that is within thy gates thou shalt not forsake, for he hath neither part nor inheritance with thee. At the end of 3 years thou shalt bring forth all the tithes of thine increase of the same year, and lay it up within thy gates. Then the Levite shall come, because he hath no part nor inheritance with thee, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow, which are within thy gates, and shall eat and be filled, that the Lord thy God may bless thee in all the work of thine hand which thou doest. Deuteronomy chapter 15. At the term of 7 years thou shalt make a freedom, and this is the manner of the freedom. Every creditor shall quit the loan of his hand, which he hath lent to his neighbor. He shall not ask it again of his neighbor, nor of his brother, for the year of the Lord's freedom is proclaimed. Of a stranger thou mayest require it, but that which thou hast with thy brother thine hand shall remit, save when there shall be no poor with thee. For the Lord shall bless thee in the land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee, for an inheritance to possess it. So that thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and do all these commandments, which I command thee this day. For the Lord thy God hath blessed thee, as he hath promised thee, and thou shalt lend unto many nations, but thou thyself shalt not borrow, and thou shalt reign over many nations, and they shall not reign over thee. If one of thy brethren with thee be poor within any of thy gates, in thy land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not harden thine heart, nor shut thine hand from thy poor brother, but thou shalt open thine hand unto him, and shalt lend him sufficient for his need which he hath. Beware that there be not a wicked thought in thine heart, to say, the 7th year, the year of freedom, is at hand. Therefore it grieveth thee to look on thy poor brother, and thou givest him naught, and he cry unto the Lord against thee, so that sin be in thee. Thou shalt give him, and let it not grieve thine heart to give unto him. For because of this the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all thy works, and in all that thou puttest thine hand to, because there shall be ever some poor in the land. Therefore I command thee, saying, that thou shalt open thine hand unto thy brother, to thy needy, and to thy poor in the land. If thy brother in Hebrew sell himself to thee, or an Hebrewess, and serve thee 6 years, even in the 7th year thou shalt let him go free from thee. And when thou sendest him out free from thee, thou shalt not let him go away empty, but shalt give him a liberal reward of thy sheep, and of thy corn, and of thy wine. Thou shalt give him of that wherewith the Lord thy God hath blessed thee. And remember that thou wast a servant in the land of Egypt, and the Lord thy God delivered thee. Therefore I command thee this thing today. And if he say unto thee, I will not go away from thee, because he loveth thee and thine house, and because he is well with thee, then shalt thou take an awl, and pierce his ear through against the door, and he shall be thy servant forever. And unto thy maid servant thou shalt do likewise. Let it not grieve thee, when thou lettest him go free from thee, for he hath served thee 6 years, which is the double worth of an hired servant. And the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all that thou doest. All the firstborn males that come of thy cattle and of thy sheep thou shalt sanctify unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt do no work with thy firstborn bullock, nor shear thy firstborn sheep. Thou shalt eat it before the Lord thy God year by year, in the place which the Lord shall choose, both thou and thine household. But if there be any blemish therein, as if it be lame or blind, or have any evil fault, thou shalt not offer it unto the Lord thy God, but shalt eat it within thy gates. The unclean and the clean shall eat it alike, as the roebuck and as the hart. Only thou shalt not eat the blood thereof, but pour it upon the ground as water. Deuteronomy chapter 16. Thou shalt keep the month of Abib, and thou shalt celebrate the Passover unto the Lord thy God. For in the month of Abib the Lord thy God brought thee out of Egypt by night. Thou shalt therefore offer the Passover unto the Lord thy God, of sheep and bullocks, in the place where the Lord shall choose to cause his name to dwell. And thou shalt eat no leavened bread with it, but 7 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread therewith, even the bread of tribulation. For thou camest out of the land of Egypt in haste, that thou mayest remember the day that thou camest out of the land of Egypt, all the days of thy life. And there shall be no leaven seen with thee in all thy coasts 7 days long. Neither shalt thou remain that night any of the flesh until the morning, which thou offerest the first day at even. Thou mayest not offer the Passover within any of thy gates, which the Lord thy God giveth thee, but in the place where the Lord thy God shall choose to place his name. There shalt thou offer the Passover at even, about the going down of the sun, in the season that thou camest out of Egypt. And thou shalt roast and eat it in the place which the Lord thy God shall choose, and shall return on the morrow, and go unto the tents. 6 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread, and the 7th day shall be a solemn assembly to the Lord thy God. Thou shalt do no work therein. 7 weeks shalt thou number unto thee, and shalt begin to number the 7 weeks, when thou beginnest to put the sickle to the corn. And thou shalt keep the feast of weeks unto the Lord thy God, even a free gift of thine hand, which thou shalt give unto the Lord thy God, as the Lord thy God hath blessed thee. And thou shalt rejoice before the Lord thy God, thou and thy son, and thy daughter, and thy servant, and thy maid, and the Levite that is within thy gates, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow that are among you, in the place which the Lord thy God shall choose to place his name there. And thou shalt remember that thou wast a servant in Egypt. Therefore thou shalt observe and do these ordinances. And thou shalt observe the feast of the tabernacles 7 days, when thou hast gathered in thy corn and thy wine. And thou shalt rejoice in thy feast, thou and thy son and thy daughter, and thy servant and thy maid, and the Levite and the stranger, and the fatherless and the widow, that are all in thy gates. 7 days shalt thou keep a feast unto the Lord thy God, in the place which the Lord shall choose, when the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all thine increase, and in all the works of thine hands. Thou shalt in any case be glad. 3 times in the year shall all the males appear before the Lord thy God, in the place which he shall choose, in the feast of the unleavened bread, and in the feast of weeks, and in the feast of the tabernacle, and they shall not appear before the Lord empty. Every man shall give according to the gift of his hand, and according to the blessing of the Lord thy God, which he hath given thee.